Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 61. Today is October the 12th, and happy Monday to you all. We are live now on YouTube and Discord, and as you know, this call is being recorded and it's going to be available for you to check out in our Horizen podcast later. Also, please remember to be asking your questions on Menti so we can have our good Q&A session at the end. I'll welcome now Luca to give us the engineering updates.
Thank you, Angie, and I'll actually welcome Alberto. Today we are together again to speak about many different topics. And as usual, as last time, we'll start from the main chain side. So we'll start speaking about the upcoming deprecation, the halving, and also the Rosetta integration. Please, Alberto.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Luca. Okay, let's start from the mainchain side and Zendi. So regarding the next deprecation, we have reviewed almost all the PRs. Just three of them are remaining, but they are minor ones. So everything seems almost ready to be released and published for the next deprecation. So going on with ZenD, we also started working on the unit tests that we identified to be useful for the next halving. So this is something that we're currently working on, and it will proceed for the next weeks. Okay, let's switch to the Rosetta integration. Okay, the integration is proceeding quite well. We are currently working on the changes that are needed for adapting the BTCD Golang implementation to be able to parse and manage the Zen blocks. So the Rosetta Bitcoin library was depending on this BTCD library that was a Golang implementation of a BTCD node. And this was used for, parsing blocks and transactions and so on. So we needed to adapt this library to be able to parse also Zen blocks, sorry. And so this is something that is proceeding as well. We will update you next week, but we think that it's not going to take too much time. Regarding the SDK, there were some pending pull requests, and we have been reviewing some of them. The last we were looking at was the stake delegation, so the pull request related to for a user to be able to delegate another forger to be eligible as to use that stake to be eligible as a forger. So this is something currently under review, but so far everything is proceeding well. This week, probably we were going to finish this review. We keep working on the modifications for the sidechain transaction commitment tree and the UTXO Merkle tree. Regarding the UTXO Merkle tree, we have been focusing on speeding up. Okay, first, before speeding up, we have been working on a way for recover this UTXO Merkle tree if the node shut down not gracefully. Currently, we have seen that some changes are needed also for speeding up the UTXO Merkle tree. So what we are going to do is currently putting on hold these changes and focusing on another part that I will mention just now. So, regarding the SDK changes that are needed for the proof introduction, and also how the secrets has to be designed, we decided to start some workshop sessions that are going to cover how what is needed to be proven and what kind of impacts have these proofs on the SDK side. So we are going on with several sessions that are going to be joined by both on the circuit side, I mean, developers on the circuit side and developers on the SDK side. And so we will go through all the things that needs to be proven on the sidechain side. And so we will be able to see all the changes that are needed. And then after, we will make a more detailed plan on all the changes and all the specific tasks that should be done for reaching the final goal of producing a final proof for the epoch. So today was the first one, and I think went very well. So proceeding on that. And last thing is related to the proving system. We had a very, very, very productive call about GPU's optimization. So to summarize, we decided instead of, let me say, working on re-implementing some basic operations, I mean, on the GPU, we decided to integrate directly in our Ginger lib the Filecoin GPU's implementation for multi-scalar multiplication. And so this is something that is currently in progress, and we're very, let me say, anxious to see what will be the improvement in terms of performance in using GPUs for this multi-scalar multiplication stuff. I mean, and this will affect the performances on the prover time. I mean, and that's it for this week.
Yeah, that's probably it. Will be available, of course, for any engineering-related question. Back to you, Angie.
Great. Thank you, Luca and Alberto. Now let's welcome Jonathan to give us some of the marketing and growth updates.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So overall, I would characterize last week as a nice, consistent upward trend across all of our metrics. In terms of wallet downloads, we saw a 1.35% total increase, which is 4.5% more than we saw last week. So always nice to see it go up. In terms of emails, we saw about a 1% increase in our email list, which is in line with last week. So that's consistent. In terms of the faucet, I won't get into how many exactly new users per day, but it's a very nice upward trend that is really pleasing for me to see. Overall, very positive week, strong upward trends across the board. I'm also going to tell you about Lucy's part because she's not here today. So in terms of HEAP, we saw 1.18% increase in the Horizen Early Adopter Program in terms of developers joining the program. We saw a big spike in developers who are interested in HDE, a 7.28% increase over last week. So if you average the two together, we saw about a 3.6% developer growth over last week. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Gustavo, is there anything you would like to add?
Gustavo is not on the call right now. So I agreed to his part too. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, now let's welcome Dean to give us the BD and operations updates.
Hey, everybody. So I guess first off, just to remind you, I'm replacing Rowan Stone and his role in the BD team and ops team. Obviously, super appreciative to Rowan for everything that he's done. Did an amazing job. My goal is to continue his efforts and just keep pushing the ball forward. And so with that, we made some org changes to start with. And so the first one is Magnon is continuing to do her evangelism work, but she'll be moving under Lucy in marketing. And on the BD side, we really split the org into two sides. The first one is Vano will be maintaining all of the integration partnerships, so like all of the exchanges and wallets, third-party providers, etc. And I think appropriate for Vano's new role is a change in title. So before Vano was the country lead or maybe even regional lead, I'm not sure which. But now he will be business development manager. So he's responsible for maintaining all of those integrations and working with Angie and others to make sure that our partners are happy. And when I'm done here, I'll turn it over to Vano to sort of give us updates on any new partnerships that we might have signed this week. And then the second prong is really sidechain development and encouraging third-party developers to launch and build sidechains and applications on sidechains. And for that, we've brought in a new team member who I'm really excited to introduce. His name is Kaspers Rakis. And I'll let Kaspers introduce himself, but first, just to give it some proper context. So Kaspers is a former Deloitte consultant out of Latvia, extremely intelligent, extremely accomplished, and in full transparency, he is a relative of a current team member, so he is Lindsay's brother. But I think consistent with our our ethos, we love nepotism here at Zen Blockchain Foundation, and I can say that Kaspers is incredibly talented. Really looking forward to his work. He's already started creating a funnel to bring in sidechain partners, and with that. Kaspers, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the team?
Sure. Thank you very much, Dean, for the awesome introduction. And hello, everyone. This is Kaspers Rakis calling in from the Baltics. It's really great to be here. Really excited to be joining the team to help with the business development efforts at Horizen. So yes, I will be bringing my consulting background and experience from the Big Four to really help grow Horizen's sidechain ecosystem, mainly by introducing new blockchain partnerships to our platform. So we have a strategy already to execute upon, and I will be actually giving you some early updates about our progress in the following Weekly Insiders. So stay tuned, and thanks.
Thank you, Kaspers. Yeah, I'm excited. In weeks to come, you'll be updating the team and our community on our progress. And just spoiler alert, we're already having a lot of interest in the work that Kaspers is doing. And with that, I will turn it over to Vano. Vano, did anything happen in our partnership world that you would want to share?
Yeah, thanks, Dean. So, as you said, I will be handling our current partnerships and integrations. And currently, I'm taking care of them, reaching out to everyone, exploring our partnerships deeply as well to see where we can improve. And so far, so good. And also, I'm working on a massive document now we need to fill in to get ourselves integrated in our upcoming partnership. And also, thanks to Rowan, I learned a lot from him. And yeah, I'm really excited to step up my game here at Horizen and to do more for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vano. And that's it on our side. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Dean. Welcome, Kaspers. And thank you, Vano, as well for the updates. Now let's continue with Rosario for product and engineering updates.
Hi, everyone. I want to set the record straight for those that are just listening in and don't have access to the chat, is that Kaspers introduced Linda to Horizen. So I will say Kaspers is the real OG for Horizen, but that's just a joke. All right, so moving on to product. So as I've mentioned this before, but perhaps it's worth mentioning again that the focus of the product team is to be a blockchain factory. So eventually we'll be building out infrastructure like sidechains. And we are starting this effort by doing some technical research. Gustavo is deep diving into competitor sidechain technology to understand the technical differentiators. And we had done this previously, but now we are going a bit more deeper and actually going through their different equivalent of the SDKs, et cetera. And I had previously reported that we started with a tokenization sidechain, and the purpose of this was to get Paolo and Marco familiar with the SDK. And pretty much we have an external team that is building on top of the SDK or using the SDK. So we have internal users of the SDK that have not been that are not part of the engineering team who is developing the sidechain. So we have a basic proof of concept, which is the tokenization. And last week, Paolo was able to add the automated forging. And he's had to pause a bit as he's also supporting the Rosetta integration. So that obviously takes a bit of a priority for us. And in terms of the SDK documentation, Mauricio is refining the Lambo registry. So as you can see, the documentation is going to be a continuous effort, and with the ultimate goal of having a best-in-class type of documentation. So I'm also working on a quote unquote SDK certification program. So as part of the funnel that Dean mentioned, the product team is going to be catching some of those. And we may be working with external developer groups. So we need a way to vet these external developers. So we'll have a very quick and easy way to say, okay, yes, we want to work with this partner or not by them going through this certification program. And just to wrap things up, we have a new HDE task, which those that are part of the HDE and heap will receive those this update. But check it out on hde.horizen.io, and this is on the ZenD part, so reviewing all RPC call help messages and helping out with the documentation on that. That is it for now. Thank you, and have a great week, guys.
Thank you, Rosario. Rolf, would you like to add any updates or comments?
I'm excited about the additional work that Vano's been going to be doing. Vano, you've shown that you've done great things so far, so I'm excited for you. And Casper's the things that you're going to be doing to get software developers writing code for sidechains. Really, really excited about that. So I'm happy about the changes. Thanks.
Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
Thanks, Angie. And guys, this has been a pretty cool insider because I love the traction that we're already getting with the BD team and product team working together. And just so you know, from a big picture perspective, that's exactly the strategy here is driving a bunch of early blockchain work from this into this blockchain factory that we've been talking about. So it's very synergistic. We're going to be experimenting with some very high profile, call them design partners up front. And these are, as Dean mentioned, focusing on blockchain industry organizations, because it's much easier to sell to a blockchain organization the value of blockchain and, hey, check out what we're doing here. It'll make your life a lot easier and extend a bunch of new functionality that you just can't do right now. And by the way, we have a product team who will work with you to build it. And that message is just really resonating big time. I'm really looking forward to making it a little bit more clear to you guys here what that's going to mean tangibly in terms of partnerships, because I think those partnerships, at least the early ones, will be the biggest signal of where we're heading with our technology product. Okay, so let me see, my notes for today. I want to refine Horizen's core differentiating message. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I want the community to think about this because it's something that I'm thinking about and it's something the team's going to be thinking about, and we definitely need input and help. The whole point of having a community here is so that you guys are directly participating in what's going on, not really being, not like being, say, just consumers of an end product. You guys are here to be part of this project, and I would love to hear some thoughts. What I mean by this is, there are plenty of high-profile blockchains out there and cryptocurrencies where if you just mention the name, right away it clicks with at least people that understand crypto, why they exist, what they're doing, very specifically what they're doing. So I want something very similar for us. And when we first launched Zencash, the idea was to dashify Zcash. That was the point of what we were doing. And we've grown quite a bit since then. So we really need to revisit this. And it has to link to our mission. And we need to make sure that this ripples through to everything that we do as an organization. So ZBF is distinct as a distinct organization in the Horizen ecosystem. So we also need to think how the different organizations and companies that are part of this ecosystem interact with each other. But what I mean by single sentence on why we exist, it has to explain our niche. And really, I'll throw out something just to start the conversation that I've been thinking of. And we're going to go much deeper, guys. So don't just take this and run with it. Unless you love it, then of course, provide your feedback. But the idea that I was thinking, just where I'm going with at least one suggestion is, we are building privacy that scales without compromising security. Right? So when I think about what we're doing with Zendu, what I think about what we're doing with Snarks, this is what's resonating to me. So we are making it really easy to deploy blockchains that come with extremely sophisticated privacy tools with extremely sophisticated security, because of the way that Zendu is structured and the way that we're constructing the Snark circuits. It is a very interesting, unique model in the market. And this is an idea. And of course, if this isn't resonating or if it's a bit of a mouthful, privacy that scales without compromising security, we need to just think of something different. But it has to be something very succinct like this, and it has to resonate, and it has to permeate to everything that we do as an organization. And if we're doing something that is tangential to that, or just not really related to it, or orthogonal to it, God forbid, we need to stop doing it. I will post a great article by Brian Armstrong in the Discord here. It's called, or you could just look it up on DuckDuckGo, Coinbase is a mission-focused company. It's just a fantastic article that he wrote, really specific to what they're doing as a company, their mission, and how they're structuring their team to accomplish that mission. And some things resonated that I, for sure, would love to adopt with the foundation. And this is play as a championship team, which means you have a commitment to quality at all levels. We talk about this all the time, and we have to be serious about it. And working as a team, not exalting individual rock stars. This industry already has too many divas, rock stars, people that just think that they're amazing and projects exist because they're so cool and brilliant. We need to go beyond that. And I think this is very clear with how we've been operating for the last 3 years now, and everything that we talk about that we want to do. But we are building a machine that has extremely competent professionals that perform their piece of that machine, their piece of that puzzle that makes everything work properly, work better, more efficiently, and makes it scale. So we need to think through all these nuances about how we operate and be a company first. This is what Coinbase says, and Coinbase is a for-profit company. We're not. The Zen Blockchain Foundation is a nonprofit company. So in our case, because we're a nonprofit, we still need to think about, we're not thinking about profit maximization, but we're thinking about what mission and functions are we trying to accomplish as a foundation, and then refine how everything that we're doing. So we should not be spending resources that are just not part of this very, very simple construct. And some things that I was thinking were just as we've evolved, and because we have multiple entities in this ecosystem, we have Horizen Labs, we have pipeline marketing, and hopefully, and I'll just say definitely, we will have others over time. So what I'm thinking with the foundation, over time, this is how I'm viewing us shaping the foundation, is really to be the communication hub for the ecosystem. So community building, conveying information to the community, making sure that people understand why Horizen exists, what it's doing, amplifying message from any particular stakeholders within the ecosystem, just building that single source of information, and obviously many sources of information, but at least part of a mission for the organization should be really to act as a communication hub for the ecosystem. Then there are other things as well, like base science and technology, maintaining the core protocol. These are things that we have very much taken on explicitly as a foundation, and I don't see us changing that mission anytime soon. So that's where we're focusing, and then we need to just make sure that everything that we're doing is consistent with that. And let me just read Coinbase's mission, because it's so similar to ours and what we're thinking. So Coinbase's mission is to create an open financial system for the world. This means we want to use cryptocurrency to bring economic freedom to people all over the world. Well, does that sound familiar? Because this is so much in line with what we're doing. Hey guys, I'm not reading Coinbase's article because I have some brewing partnership where we're doing something with Coinbase at all. I just saw this great article that Armstrong wrote, and I wanted to convey what it meant to me and what I think it'll mean to our organization. So we need to hone in on our message. And that's the main point here. So everyone, please think about what you believe this resonating message should be. Why does Horizen exist? Why is that important? Why should anyone care? And how does this fit some niche that has a justification to exist in this very complex and often oversaturated industry that we're in? How are we better at something so clearly than everyone else in the market? And how are we going to grow this over time? Okay, so let me see. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I know I'm saying a bit here, but we do have a little bit of time. Rosario mentioned that we did some competitive sidechain technical analysis or a review of, at least this morning, we went through one particular sidechain one particular sidechain project. And I have to say, the project is amazing. High level of respect for them. And at first glance, it is intimidating. It's really intimidating to see another project that's so popular, generating so much FOMO right now, with so many brilliant people working on it that's gaining so much traction, at least in terms of their coins price or the tokens price. They have lots of engineers, great messaging, awesome sounding products. Like what they're building seems like it makes complete sense. I have to say that is intimidating. But when we actually dug under the hood and we started trying to really understand what is our competitive differentiation from this project, so that we can hone in on what's important about what we're doing, what's different enough so that we can actually build a market around it, I started getting excited because Zendoo honestly just scales much better, period. There's no question about that at all levels, from the economics to the technology. It just scales significantly better. And that could be an artifact of we are just the next generation sidechain project. Other projects that are popular in the market right now came before us, just quite frankly. They were pioneers in sidechain technology before we entered, even thinking about this type of architecture for ourselves. And the way that we've architected Zendoo and what Alberto and the engineering team are doing will be quite obviously just superior technology when it comes to scaling. We rely on cryptography instead of a limited number of validators. And we've mentioned this many times in many different circumstances or contexts. This will matter over time. So instead of any application developer coming to us and asking us to build a particular type of interoperability or logic into our system so that they can do something different, we have an open system that we're opening up to the world, and we make sure that as long as you comply with the interoperability standard, you can do whatever you want on a sidechain. And the main chain doesn't have to know anything about it, and you don't have to rely on a marketplace for validators that could consist of a dozen or dozens of people that you just have to rely on, you have to trust, and you have to make sure that the economic incentives are so stacked in the favor of them not cheating the system that it doesn't break down economically. So when I was looking at this, I was thinking there are tail risks on both sides of this type of thing. When you have a validator marketplace, you could have a system where there's an auction environment where the cost of becoming a validator becomes so sufficiently high that it is much greater than the economic value being generated in the side chains that you're trying to validate for. And if that's the case, if you can't make as much resources by participating as a validator, then you're not going to be bidding so much for the right to become a validator. So there's an upper bound on the economics here. And the economics in these types of systems matter because you're counting on people to have such a massive stake in the system that they don't want to subvert it because the cost of subverting it is significantly higher than the benefits of subverting it. This is kind of blockchain decentralization 101. And what Zendoo gives us is cryptography instead of this type of economic system based on human beings that have constraints and opportunities in a dynamically evolving marketplace. It's really cool, and I have to say these technologies are really awesome to see evolve, but I'm betting on Zendoo. There's also a lot of uncertainty around the token economics of some of these projects, and this was shocking to me. The supply paths for some projects that are extremely valuable in market value don't have defined supply caps. They don't even have a defined supply path. I'm not even talking about having a inflationary system, with a defined inflationary system. I'm talking about one that's still at the discretion of founders of a system, which is a little interesting that people would put so much money at the discretion of some people, where they could just literally change the rules next year. That was shocking to me, and I think that it will also. I'm betting on Zendu, because Zendu is based on Zen, which is already a very well-established cryptocurrency with a hard cap on supply, and that will not change. In this play, we can tell you exactly the supply path for Zen over the next 150, 250,000 years. That is the supply path. And other projects can't say that, so I'm not saying one's better than the other. In any other dimension other than one has much more certainty than the other. And I think that this will matter over time in our competitive posture. Okay, so I'm not trying to say that we're just so amazing, discount the competition, because the competitors are fierce and the competitors are pretty awesome. Great human beings, and they're brilliant people and doing fantastic work. Our system, though, I'll tell you another big thing that was, again, a little surprising to me is some systems are actually the economics are based on developers paying to use services on the network. Ours is the exact opposite. We're designing a system to pay developers to build on the network. Users, if they like a product and they want to participate in something, will be paying fees that accrue in part to developers. So it's the complete opposite. It's flipping upside down the business model of one where you expect developers to be basically developers as your customer in your system that are paying you to use the system. And ours flips that upside down, where we want developers to actually get paid. And this type of model can work. And this is what early .coms did, was they used either VC or IPO proceeds to pay to acquire early users, with the hope that these users, once they were into the platforms, would be willing to pay over time. And it didn't work for a lot of .coms. It is something that comes with risk, and resources can become depleted by acquiring users whose contribution economically is lower than the cost of acquisition. Now, ours is opposite, so we actually will be paying developers to come in, and we give them revenue that scales with usage. So it's the exact opposite, and an economic model that, again, I'm betting on. So again, just to reiterate, I'm not saying that we are the best rock stars in the industry and everyone should discount the competition. That's exactly what I'm not saying. Remember, the main point here is we're building a system that we think is scalable, and we think the architecture makes sense, both from a technical perspective, from an economic perspective, and the incentives align so that it can scale. The technology can scale because you don't require knowledge from different chains to understand what's going on. You don't have to coordinate between new logic between validators and main chain and different side chains. All of this comes with a simple, not simple, but with an interoperability protocol, and everyone paid automatically, autonomously in the decentralized framework, a truly decentralized framework. We talk about it, and to us, it's a big deal because this is the whole point of blockchain. I don't think that the market quite understands how big of a deal it is, because there's for sure a valid trade-off in the interim between semi-decentralization and decentralization. But long-term, there's no comparison. The public internet would not exist today if it were not an open permissionless system. And that's exactly the analog here that we're building, is an open permissionless system. So I'll stop here, guys. But this is, there's a great amount of wisdom that I'm seeing out there in the industry, and we're trying to understand what's going on, take the appropriate lessons learned, tailor it to what we're doing, and make sure that we're constantly getting better at what we do. So I'll stop here. We can open up to questions.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Okay, so the first question is, hello, I know the main focus is on Sidechains and Zen, but I'm wondering what the plan is for a mobile wallet that supports Zen. Okay,
I'm going to speak a little bit out of turn here. Not out of turn, but I'll just tell you what's on my mind. It's not definitive yet. What's on my mind is I don't want the foundation to be in the wallet business per se. We have wallets out there. What I would like to do is open source Sphere and really have the community take lead on it at that point. And that's on desktop right now. So a little bit different from the question. When it comes to mobile, though, same logic. So I believe that the foundation has limited resources. Obviously, we know where the price of Zen is, and you guys can all go and take the amount of Zen that's issued per block and multiply that by the price of Zen, and you see exactly what our revenue is. And you can see how our revenue has fluctuated over time, massive volatility, and where we stand today. And quite frankly, we don't have the resources to dilute our efforts. And the most important thing that we can do by far, by orders of magnitude, is get Zendoo mature to mainnet. That's the most important thing we can do. And mobile wallet just does not rank in that priority list. It's something that I would love. In fact, what I would love to do is to bring in other well-established, dominant mobile wallet providers out there and get them to build mobile wallets for us, or with us, I should say, rather than the foundation taking lead on this, because we are not wallet development experts. It's not our business. We don't make money building wallets. And this is something that I kind of wish I realized 2 or 3 years ago. Initially, as we were bootstrapping the ecosystem, we needed to build wallets. We just had to. We didn't have others to do it. But now we're mature enough of an ecosystem, mature enough of a project where there's enough economic value at stake where I believe we can induce some other well-known wallet providers to come in and actually take lead for us. So that's my two zennies on it.
Thank you, Rob. The second question is, does the Rosetta integration mean you will for sure be added to Coinbase?
No, it does not. There's no guarantee at all. And Coinbase is an extremely professional organization that makes sure that they have a firewall around their decisions, including telling us, the team behind the project, what their decision is. Now, they did publish an article some months ago saying that we are one of 18 projects on their short list to be listed. That's great, but it was very explicit in that article that there's no guarantee. And all it was they've gone through initial vetting and we are on that short list. But there are others on that list, and there's no guarantee that we are going to ultimately be listed. We are taking the initiative ourselves to make it easier for Coinbase to list us if they choose to, and that's by integrating into Rosetta.
Thanks. Okay, the third one has a little bit of FOMO in there. It says, will the major announcement you've been hinting at go out this week?
I'm told either today or tomorrow. Sorry, guys. I apologize. I wanted nothing more than to talk about this today, but it seems we'll talk about the partnership next week. It's honestly an awesome partnership. There's definitely FOMO deserved in this partnership, and it's a testament to the new BD and product focus of where we're going. And you'll understand what I'm talking about once that goes live. We're told it should go live on CoinDesk either today or tomorrow, so pay attention.
Thank you. And I'm going to include a last one because it's a really good one. It says, will the next Zendy release include parts of sidechain functionality?
Alberto, do you want to chime in on what's going to be included in the next release? But I'll just, yeah, please.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Okay, short answer is no. Why? Because all the sidechain functionalities will require a specific hard fork, and moreover, we wanna, considering the huge amount of changes, we plan to have an external code audit before going in mainnet. So our process will be finishing the changes, putting them on testnet, and in parallel having an independent code audit that will validate that what we did. There are no bugs, or likely, and there are no issues, and so and after that we will go on mainnet.
And Alberto, I'd like to add for just piggybacking on this is that the Zendy, so I think the question is regarding Zendy. So the changes to Zendy are going to be a result of a third-party independent audit that was performed on the Zendy code. And now we're just finalizing those recommendations for changes. And this just bodes to our level of security for our system.
Yeah, I meant that we will have, okay, I was meaning the Zendy part. Because obviously in the next release we will not have anything because it has not yet been audited, and when it will be audited, we will have a Zendy release containing the sidechain changes for the Zendy release. Another story is the SDK part with the circuit and all that stuff that will have another parallel audit. But let me say, from the Zendy perspective, we will have a third-party audit that will cover the Zendy changes for sidechain support. and this is not happening in this next release. It will happen when all this will be finished.
Okay, so those were the top questions. Thank you everyone for asking them and contributing. And thank you everyone as well for attending our Weekly Insider. Remember, we do this every Monday at 3:30 p.m. UTC on Discord and YouTube to give you the latest Horizen updates. We wish you all a great week. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone.